right to that money. And over the course of the last many years, the Michigan courts have said the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act can be used in civil courts to assist giving the owners a remedy against the general contractor who has done the wrong, who has violated the trust fund and taken the money for themselves and not paid the subcontractors or suppliers. And so oftentimes we see, and we've seen it really 8-10 years ago when there were some difficulties in the construction market where the Construction Lien Act was being used to assist in getting paid, but also owners were looking at the general contractors that they've paid and said, hey, wait a minute, I've paid you for this improvement. Why are you not paying the people that you owe? And it was oftentimes because these general contractors were getting behind on other projects, or they were running short on funds, and so they would quote unquote rob Peter to pay Paul and do that. And the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act was specifically designed to prevent that from happening. And because it is also a criminal statute, we've been able to work with several of the local prosecuting offices in the area counties and working at prosecuting violations of the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act. As we've seen, the minute that a claim of the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act is made, all of a sudden that general contractor, if they talk to their attorney, gets pretty excited about paying those funds and making sure those funds go to the subcontractors and suppliers. So anytime we see a situation where the owner comes to our office and says, wait, I had this contract to do this addition on my house for $50,000. I've paid the general contractor $50,000. It's not my problem that the general contractor did not pay the subcontractors and suppliers. Mm-hmm. Why are they filing liens on my property? Well, the Michigan construction lien allows the subcontractors and suppliers to have that remedy to assist in getting paid, but also the Michigan Construction Lien Act provides a tool. It's called a statutory affidavit, an owner's affidavit that they can file saying, I've already paid for this and I've complied with the Michigan Construction Lien Act. At the same time, because the $50,000 was already paid to the general contractor and they have that money, and that money does not belong to them until the subcontractors and suppliers have been paid, if that in fact has happened, where you can show the trail of money going from the owner to the general contractor and the subcontractors and suppliers are saying, I haven't been paid, why haven't I been paid? Now you've got a classic violation of the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act. That if the general contractor says, I'm sorry, I don't have the money anymore, and files bankruptcy, the bankruptcy code has stated very clearly in the Western District of Michigan and in other courts throughout the United States that a violation of the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act is a non-dischargeable debt that you can't wipe out in bankruptcy. And so 8-10 years ago, when contractors were running into financial problems and they were violating the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act, they would then file bankruptcy as they ran out of funds, and they would try to wipe out their debts. And there were several lien claims that were, not lien claims, there were several claims that were made and called adversary proceedings in bankruptcy court saying, hey, wait a minute, you violated the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act. That is a non-dischargeable debt. So an adversary proceeding would be filed saying, I, for example, paid you $50,000, you received it, you then didn't pay the subs and suppliers. That claim survives your bankruptcy and is not discharged. Mm-hmm. And that became a very important weapon for these owners who were put in a difficult spot by a general contractor who violated the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act, and then you had all these other subcontractors and suppliers who could also make the very same claim upstream against that general contractor of, you held this money for my benefit and you didn't pay me. Mm-hmm. And so the Michigan Builders Trust Fund Act can not only be used by owners saying, hey, I paid you, why didn't you pay these people? But the subcontractors and suppliers can look upstream to the general contractor and say, that's not your money. That is the money that the owner paid to you in trust under Michigan law for the benefit of me. And you have no right to that money. The law is very clear in that regard. And so subcontractors and suppliers that we've represented in those situations have had an opportunity to get some relief from the legal system in that regard.